Am I the asshole for taking over the living room to watch a TV show my husband doesn't like every Friday night? My F35 husband, M35, and I live in a relatively small house with one area to watch TV. We do have an unfinished basement that currently contains an area for working out, an area for doing laundry, and then the rest is storage. For context, I do not work on Fridays, but my husband does. My favorite show is RuPaul's Drag Race, which airs on Friday nights. My husband does not like this show, which is his right, and when I watch it, he feels the need to go in the basement for the entire hour and a half that it's on. It's recently caused a lot of contention in our relationship because he feels that he shouldn't have to be relegated to the basement on Friday nights after he works hard. This is the only show that I watch when it airs, and I don't like to record it and watch it later because I don't want to see spoilers on social media which are nearly impossible for me to avoid. I just don't think I'm being unreasonable by wanting to watch one show on one night of the week for an hour and a half. I'm not forcing him to go to the basement, he could easily go into the bedroom instead. Tell me Reddit, am I the asshole? Not the asshole, you aren't making him do anything. He's basically telling you that you can't watch it without wanting to actually say it. He can suck it up and play on that phone like even toddlers manage when mom is boring. Find a hobby. This is why they exist. IDK your situation, but Wi-Fi plus Xbox, basic smart TV. Ask for him time as a reciprocation. He can't. Say you're making him leave if you aren't use that falsehood to control you. I can absolutely understand not wanting to watch that show, but any normal person would just go do something else for a little bit, no big deal. Is it cause they're effeminate, gay? Skeptical smiley face. So he hates the show so much he couldn't stand going to the bedroom or staying in the main room doing something else even with headphones. Phones and computers can stream entertainment quite easily in various forms. Whining about not controlling the entertainment once a week for only the weeks the show is airing new episodes sounds like picking a fight. He's being dramatic. He could even go for a walk or spend time with friends. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. It's his choice to sashay away. Nobody is telling him where to go. So Shantae, you stay. If he seriously can't deal with you spending 90 whole minutes a week doing something you like that he's not into, that's a pretty shitty husband to be honest. Not the asshole. Taking over the living room. Ma'am, you live there too. Tell your husband to grow up and get a life if he can't let you have an hour to yourself in your own home. Info. Are there times when he watches programs that you don't care for? And if so, what do you do when he does? In Ta, he doesn't need to go to the basement. He decides to go the basement. He could wear headphones and watch something on his phone if he wanted to. He could also go to your bedroom instead of the basement if that's an option. He's intentionally making it inconvenient for him because he isn't getting his way. Am I the asshole for not saying thank you? Using my alternate because I don't want this traced back to me and my spouse gets my email notifications for my main on his phone. Basically, my husband, 30M, thinks I, 28F, am a jerk for not saying thank you about baby-related tasks. We have a 7-month-old and we both work full-time, a few days during the week remotely, and twice a week the low goes to daycare. I'm up every day at 6:15 a.m. to pump, then I get the baby up and ready if he hasn't woken up already, make sure he's changed, has a bottle, has breakfast, is dressed, and is happy while husband is still asleep or just getting on his work computer. I telework with Lo on Mondays and Wednesdays. DH is there both days. But I don't really get anything done, which is really frustrating because I'm still training in my job and I get anxious trying to balance Lo and work. Tuesdays I'm out the door bringing Lo to daycare by 7:30 while husband is usually still in the shower. He usually asks me to let out the dogs because he's running late. I pump during the day to feed Lo, which also takes time out of my day. I make dinner every day, and I almost always feed the baby dinner too. We play on the floor while husband is on his phone on the couch, which is a little irritating because his baby is doing cute things. Then I start bath time at 7 o'clock, and spouse will usually fill the baby tub for me. He'll also warm a bottle for me. Then I put Lo to bed and we watch TV for a while. I unload and reload the dishwasher and try to start a load of bottles in the sterilizer. If Lo gets up in the middle of the night, he'll warm a bottle and I'll change and feed Lo and get him back to bed. I miss sleeping a bit longer on Saturdays. It'd be nice if I could go back to sleep after pumping in the AM on Saturdays, but husband is usually still asleep. All of this is to outline my mental load. But every time my husband does something like unloads the dishwasher, puts dishes in the dishwasher, or does the bottles, etc., he makes a giant stink. Did you see I did the dishes? Did you see I did the bottles? Did you see I took out the trash? Are you gonna say thank you? Like, yes of course I noticed, but these are things I do all the time and they're expected of you too? I don't care if I get a thank you. Like the other day, I cleaned your work desk because it was horribly dusty, take your dirty dishes every day, and tidy the baby's room, but I didn't get a thank you. I also don't make a stink about not getting a thank you. Why is it necessary for me to thank you when I have a million other things on my mind? So I say thanks for doing that, but then he gets grumpy that my tone is hateful. I just don't have the capacity to be all gushy and grateful that he did things that are expected. Am I the asshole for not thanking him? I just think it's crazy to constantly say thank you for tasks like this. Not the asshole. Thank you, for not even doing everything he should be as a dad and partner? It is time to have a come-to-Hera moment with your husband, because he is not pulling his weight. Have him read this webcomic about the mental load. Then have a conversation about what it means to be a partner. How you shouldn't have to manage him. How you definitely should not have to thank him every time he does a basic task of running a household or parenting. Does he thank you? I didn't think so. If things don't change, ask him to join you for couples counseling. Not the asshole. Do the same to him. Every single time. And remind him to tell you thank you as well for doing 90% of the tasks every day. Not the asshole. But you may be inadvertently contributing to this dynamic further without realizing it. Then I start bath time at 7 o'clock, and spouse will usually fill the baby tub for me. He'll also warm a bottle for me. He's not doing those things for you. He's doing those things for your, plural, baby. You need to have a very serious conversation with him during the neutral moment about the imbalance in your mutual responsibilities. Also, if your job is being jeopardized because your baby stays home on your remote days, it's time to get daycare on those days, as well. If your husband continues to be allowed, it is going to be important that you have your own stable source of income. Not the asshole, but why isn't the baby at daycare all week? You are never going to do well at work while caring for a child even remotely. Your husband is an asshole. Wait, why is your main account logged on your spouse's phone? That seems hella weird. Honestly, my husband is exactly the same. Unfortunately, so is my son. I have 1 son and 5 daughters, and I swear the 2 men in the house are the only ones who expect a pat on the back for the mundane tasks. I'll quite often come home from work to one or the other crowing that they took the bins out, hoovered or filled up the dishwasher. So friggin' what? Who do you think does it on the million other occasions when you didn't do it? I've started replying with, 1 second, I'll just find your medal. Would I be the asshole if I didn't pay my boyfriend $500 monthly rent to live with him and his parents? Me, F25, and my boyfriend, M30, have been in a long-distance relationship for over a year. I've been visiting him often since I work remotely, staying with him and his parents for 1 to 2 months at a time. We're planning to close the distance soon, get engaged by September, move in with him and his parents by October, and get married in December or January. This living arrangement would be temporary, as he plans to get his own place in 2026. I felt good about this plan until he recently told me I'd need to pay him $500 a month to help cover rent to his parents. I earn $1,600 a month, while he makes around $3,000 to $3,500. He currently pays them $700 monthly. This request blindsided me because it never came up in our many conversations about finances and our future. I'd happily pay $500 and more if we were renting our own place, but paying that much to live with him and his parents doesn't sit right with me. He thinks I'm being greedy for feeling uneasy about his request as he pays for most things in our relationship. I pay for my own expenses, basically, plane tickets, personal products, and he pays for dates, activities, etc. Living with his parents already feels like a big adjustment. While they're lovely and the house is beautiful, I don't feel at home there. During my visits, I stay in his room all day working, only leaving to eat or use the bathroom, which is right next to his parents' bedroom. I don't have space for my things, so I live out of a suitcase, and I'm careful to clean up after myself every time. He's also said he expects me to cook dinner once or twice a week when I move permanently. Back home, I pay my dad $200 monthly for rent, have my own bathroom, and feel completely comfortable around my family. Moving abroad is already a huge change, and leaving behind that comfort is hard enough. Paying $500 on top of that feels overwhelming, especially when it's not even my own space. I'm open to contributing less, but $500 feels like too much for what I'm currently making. Would I be the asshole if I refused to pay him that amount? Info. Did his parents raise his rent to $1,200 for the 2 of you to live there? Is that reasonable rent for a single bedroom in your area? Or did your boyfriend decide you need to cover $500 of his $700 rent? Neither of these options seems great to me, but the second one in particular would be a real issue. Not the asshole, but this whole scenario seems very concerning. Engaged in September, move in October and wedding late in the same year. This is extremely rushed. You have no idea who he really is until you have lived with him for much longer than that. On top of it all, you are moving to another country. Please give your head a wobble. You need to think about this much more. I wish you all the best whatever you decide. Honey, if I were you, I'd stay where I am. Why is it always the woman who needs to relocate anyway? I understand your job is remote, but I wouldn't put myself in a financial situation where I wasn't able to save money to be independent. Especially when you are moving away from all of your support group of family and friends. You would be isolated and at their mercy. There's no need to rush. If you guys are meant to be together, then wait until you can afford a place of your own without living with his parents. Info. Back home, I pay my dad $200 monthly for rent, have my own bathroom, and feel completely comfortable around my family. Have you ever lived on your own? Because do that, for like, several years. And only then think about maybe moving in with a romantic partner. Not the asshole. Do not move in with him. He is already telling you how he will be, is. The red flags are on the wall. Also kinda concerning that he makes that much and still lives at home with his parents. Info. Why does he think you should pay $500 when he's only paying $700? That would leave him only paying $200 a month while earning more than you. Seems weird. Am I the asshole for asking to date where he is from? Am I the asshole? Repost cause it got deleted. Throwaway because I don't use Reddit, just lurking. I want to preface this by saying two things. I am not a native English speaker, so I apologize for any weird phrases or wrong words. Second, and important to my story, I am legally blind. I have RP, retinitis pigmentosa, and in addition 4 on both eyes. I am able to type this with both the speech-to-text function and other various helping functions. In real life I wear a cane, but otherwise I am independent. Now, I say this, not as an excuse, but to justify and underline my side of this story. I, F24, recently started dating for the first time. I didn't know how to get into it, so my friend suggested her putting me up on a blind date, haha, and I agreed. She gave me his M26 name, and we agreed when and where to meet. It was a nice and warm day, although a little snowy, so I decided to get there a little early in case it would be hard to navigate myself. I found the restaurant, I've been there before, and sat down at the book table. The guy shows up and we start chatting. I pick up a slight accent and ask where he is from. Now here is where I might be the asshole due to my phrasing. He laughs and tells me he's local. And I giggle and push it a little more saying, haha no I can tell you're not from here. The guy stops laughing, silently gets up and leaves. I am confused, and sit there for a few minutes waiting, in case I misunderstood the situation and he went to the water closet or something, but he doesn't come back, so I pay for the drinks and cancel the food, before getting up and walking out. I call the friend who set us up once I'm home, and she tells me, he thought you acted like such an asshole. I was apparently rude as FXXK, racist and was looking at anything but him during the conversation. I am so confused. The last part one can understand, as me being blind makes it hard to understand what I'm looking at, but the rest leaves me super confused. Here's where I could be the awe. My friend also explained to me in our call that he is from the same country as me, although from the part where they also speak another language, but he is dark-skinned and adopted from birth. Have I accidentally said something racist? Am I the asshole? TLDR, I was called a racist and I do not understand why. If he did not know you were legally blind, your friend failed both of you. She should have told him. His accent was different. I think it was fair to ask where he was from, but maybe ask what region or town. Not the asshole. 'Cause basically you cannot see him and you didn't mean it that way, it was a misunderstanding. He might be sensitive with thought part because of his past, but I know you didn't mean the bad way. Info. Did he know you were blind and could not see the tone of his skin? A very gentle you are the asshole. It's not about skin color. You pointed out his accent, which was fine, but doubled down when he said he was local. It's not about race, necessarily. But it was an indication, some would call it a microaggression, that you considered him to be an outsider. This happens to Asian folks all the time. Where are you from? Boise. But where are you really from? Maybe racism isn't the right word for it, but it is an act of exclusion that can be quite hurtful. Although you had no bad intent, I'm sure he gets that bullshit often. He was in his rights to nope out of the interaction. It's pretty rude to say, I can tell you're not from here. I would reach out to him and apologize. It's most likely not the first time someone has told him that he must not be from here. Those are pretty strong triggering words. Not the asshole. I guess it's the blind date part, but it would have been helpful for your friend to provide some details about him. He sounds like an idiot if he couldn't tell you're blind. Your friend sucks as a matchmaker if she put no effort into any follow-up questions for him when he said all those things. Good luck.